Greetings, Lenormand lovers. This is a very important video. This may be one of those videos that can help enhance your skills more than just doing your typical daily draw. I'm going to put in the links below this video. I had recently done a video on how to improve your daily draws. This is how, and this is the reason why I did that. The daily draws, many people don't have context, and doing readings without context will not make you a good reader. It's probably a great way to introduce people to the potentials of a card. But when you're doing actual daily draws and you have no question and no context, what happens is those meanings can go from very wide to extremely narrow. So, for example, if you had tower that was followed by mice, you could have like a corporate kind of corporate bringing down as one meaning. It could also mean a mouse in the elevator. You know, like they're so different from each other, and daily draws mean nothing until the end of the day when you can look back and say like, okay, of all those wide possibilities, which one might it have been? And that's not where the Lenormand strength is in those daily things. It's in finding those richer, deeper things in our world. So good Lenormand readers, what they will do is they have context in every question. And it's the context that you attach the cards to. So you never just have two random cards and you put them out. What you do is you have a specific question and you apply the context to it. So for example, if I were to ask someone, what is your love life going to be like? And someone were to answer me, well, it might be someone tall and who's a thief, I'd say, that's not what the question asked. It's totally out of context. So there would be like a buzzer on that one because the context didn't match the question. So these cards could potentially mean something like that. Or how will our love life be? And someone were to say corporate depreciation. No, because that wasn't the question. These two cards have nothing to do with that. So what you're doing is you're taking the meanings of these two cards and you're kind of plugging them in, plugging them in to the context of the question. There's always ties between the cards and the question, the cards and the context. This is what makes you a good reader. So what I would suggest you do, and I have some videos on context where I just take sentence or question after question after question and use the same two cards, and you'll see all the ways it can go. And so I'm kind of going to do that with this, with the hopes that people will actually become better readers by having those ties between the context and the cards. All right, so making your daily draws more specific. So, for example, if you were to have these two cards came up, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of different types of questions and what they could mean. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on the cards now so you can look at them and concentrate on the meanings. And I'm just going to bombard you with question after question. I want you to think in your head what you think it might mean. You can even push pause on this if you want. But then I want you to see how the applications of these two cards are going to change depending on what I ask. Okay, and you're going to notice that many, if not most of the things that I give you will have nothing to do with any of the meanings you might have come up with in a daily draw. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this together. So you have the beautiful bluebird Lenormand here, and I'm going to ask first, this will be your question to consider, what will my finances be in the next 3 months? So if you get tower and mice, think about where that would go. Because it would basically mean like either a falling of something in your finances. It could be related to a bank, but just basically it's just saying something that's tall gets short or is depreciated. Something could be taken out, a thief taking out, could be a corporate hacking. But basically, what will your finances be like? Because it ends in the mice, it means less than what it is now. So it tells us a little warning here to be careful with money. Another question. What should I do with my finances? Notice that this is a totally different question. It's about finances, but now it's asking for direction or advice. So basically this is saying, take something. It could be a stocks type thing because we got the corporate card here, and bring it down or make it lessen or less invest or take out. So it's just talking about taking something and making it less. If you don't have something in, say, stocks, just take what you have. You may have to put less toward something. Okay. If you ask a question, how can I improve my relationship? Now we're going on a completely different relationship question direction. This is giving advice as well, and you may have to have less control, have less need for rules, less be less isolated. So it's like take what's that tower is and make it less than. Be less haughty, like Haughty. If you want to know if you want to know, can I improve my relationship? Now, this is different than a how can I. This is a little more empowering. Can I means it wants a yes or no. How can I ask, what can I do to make it better or worse? So that maybe saying make it a little less controlling, that sort of thing. If you want to know, will he ask me out? This is saying it may have more rules, may be involved in business, ends in a mice, and not at this time. It's like it's not giving like a no for good, but it's like something is taking away from the person's ability to do it. If you ask, is this person good for me? Again, we've got a neutral card in the tower and then a negative card that ends here in the mice, and this is basically taking us in a downward direction. So this person, no, is not. He makes you less than. It may even be that he has control issues. You might be able to apply those. But remember, we're just looking for a yes, no here. And then you can ask later, why is he not good for me? And then get the answer to that. If you're asking, should I keep our friendship? This is basically saying it may be time to let it go because of the mice taking away, depreciating from. And the cards may tell you more about that friendship. If you ask, where is he now? He may physically be in a corporate building, or he may be in a lab, a scientific lab with rats. See how specific that can get? It could be that he is just in a building that is considered a place that he doesn't enjoy because it's the nervousness and the mice, and think of how that could apply. If you ask if this apartment is right for us, again, here's our apartment on the left. Particularly if it were something like a high rise or something with several levels. But with the mice on the right says no, whether it means there'll be mice there or it's just less than what you want, that could be either of those could be correct. If you ask, will I see them at the party? It would be interesting if it were a corporate party because that would be our tower on the left. But even if not, because it ends in the mice, it suggests probably not. If you did, it wouldn't be what you had hoped for. You ask, let's ask a question about like a road trip. If someone says, will this car make it through the road trip without any problems? Notice I'm asking this in such a way that we don't have to flip the question. It's already been done. So I'm not asking, will the car have problems? I'm asking, will the car be okay for the road trip? And for this, we have something deteriorating, whittling away, whether it's a rusting or falling apart of something, or something is getting less than when you left. But this is saying something should be checked because with the mice at the end, there's a problem. Okay. Is my dog in good health? So we get this structure and deterioration. So no, typically this would mean like a bringing down of something. So something may need to be checked for the dog. Doesn't say death or anything awful, but it does talk about a taking down of something with the mice. If you ask, how is somebody feeling emotionally? So now we're getting toward the personality type traits. So he could be feeling lofty, controlling, needing of rules. He could be feeling in control. And with the mice following it, any of those things brought down a notch. So maybe he feels like he has a lack of control. He's losing control. Maybe he has nervousness and that he feels that he needs to be in control and he feels nervous about that. It may be that he's feeling the need for structure and that's deteriorating. So that could be that the mice is deteriorating at his need for structure. If you're asking, how does he make me feel? So these are two cards that you don't really want to see if it's about emotions, because the tower is about needing to have rules and structure and control, even isolate. It's not loneliness. It's more like an isolation type tactic. And the mice is bringing down. So all of those things, you may feel that he's trying to control you and that brings you down or makes you nervous. You may feel that he has a need for rules, structure, and that also brings you down. So this is not a positive thing when we ask that type of question. If you want to know where is the item, now this can get a little crazier when we're looking at lost items because the cards can expand. So it could be something as simple as near a tall shelf next to something that's like a mouse statue, a rat statue, a picture of a mouse or the mouse pet, that sort of thing. It could be something, a tall shelf next to an anti-anxiety pill because the mice have to do with anxiety. It could be the item could have been lost in a tall building or elevator. It could be in a really small place where something like where a mice would climb under. It's like, so up in an elevator, underneath something, that sort of thing, under a shelf. So this is where it can get a little crazier when you're looking for lost items. You do have to think more out of the box with that. If you're asking what somebody looks like, then we're going into different territory altogether with physical characteristics. So the tower, you got things like a tall person or straight person or a flat-chested tall woman, very straight build. If it's a man, just very tall. When you get to the mice, then we got with like buck teeth or unusual teeth. It could be a receding or thinning hairline, that sort of thing. So you want to look at physical characteristics and never blend those in with a standard reading. So, and another thing is if you're doing this with daily draw, like we talked about, now you're having like a corporate bringing down. None of those are really things that we talked about here. It's just a bringing down of something, and or just like I don't know if you were to consider that a lab with rats in it. None of those things that we talked about had to do with that. So you just really want to apply context to question. Good readers will do this. The best readers will stick to the context. So I see in forums where people are trying to answer questions, someone says, you know, will he go out on a date with me to get a cards like this? And then people say, like, his finances are dwindling. Well, or work is like dwindling. That's not what the question was. We want to ask, well, is he going to go out with her? So this is leaning toward the negative and the no. All right, so that's just these two cards. I suggest you make a list of questions that have to do with every topic, from finances to love to anything that somebody might come to you and ask a question. Ask empowering questions, ask straight yes/no questions, take it all different twists and see where those cards take you, and that will help you be a better reader. When you can tie context very neat and tidy in a bow with the cards, you are on your way. You can ask anything you want.